Good morning and welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. If someone can just let me know if you can see and hear me, okay. Just take a peek to make sure. Good morning, good morning, yes. Good morning, Sarah, Deanna, Suzanne, Dana. Thank you for coming to the coffee chat. I am expecting a guest today who may be having technical difficulties, so I didn't want to be late getting on here. Okay, here he comes. Cool. You're good. So I'm going to do a very brief introduction, but I could not possibly describe him better than any magazine or any kind of PR that he has gotten. He's the little silent secret that he's not in your face on social media. He does his own thing and does it really well. I had the pleasure of meeting him a very long time ago at a Nancy Braun balayage class. He was working alongside Nancy for my first intro to balayage a really long time. I mean, it was over 10 years ago. Nobody was doing balayage yet. I felt like I was in my first day of beauty school. I didn't know what I was doing. I had all my fingerprints were gone from touching lightener. I had cotton up my nose, all over my smock. It was everywhere. And he was so patient and so funny. And we just connected right away. And we've been friends ever since. And he is so generous with sharing what he learns by being so brave. He just plays around with formulas. He comes up with things I would never have thought of. My own formula. Don't judge him on my formula right now because we're in quarantine and I haven't been able to get my hair done. But he solved for me the issue of brassiness that I had dealt with for 15 years. And we were at a behind the chair show and he was like, oh girl, you need to do XYZ. And I did XYZ and I've been happy ever since. So let me introduce my friend Ian. He owns the very successful Ian McCabe studio in Washington, D.C. He's part of the Ritz-Carlton, right next to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. He has a really high-end clientele, a lot of movers and shakers in Capitol Hill. And he also just opened a second location. So it took a quarantine for me to be able to get him to jump on live. He is a busy, busy boy, but you will enjoy our banter together. Hello, Ian.
Hey.
You have sound.
I don't have it.
It's really, really low. See if you can turn your volume up. You on your phone?
Yeah, is that better? Better?
Better, but still not great. Do you need it to be closer to you? You trying to be all suave and far away? You trying to do?
Well, I was trying to use my computer and then you're like, use your phone. So then I just came downstairs and I was like, well, I guess I'll just hold my phone then.
All right, let me just check in. Can you guys hear him okay? Just let me know because I can see the comments on here. I love the haircut. This is like.
Oh, I had a Britney moment.
You did have a Britney moment.
No,
I've never seen you that short.
Have you seen that? That video of that woman, the bride, cutting her hair before her wedding?
No. During this, is that what's going on? She freaked out?
No, it was like a few years ago. Like she's like on her wedding day, hates her updo, and she just cuts it off.
And it's real. You don't think it was? You don't think it was a wig?
No, it was her real hair. Trust me. And I was in my bathroom just like cutting my hair a little because it was so long. And then I like had these like janky ass scissors, and I was like, "Screw this!" I was like, "Buzz it, yeah."
You're going to make my son want to go through with it. He's been threatening during this time because he can't. I mean, I've cut his hair, but he's like, you know, if there's ever a time to just shave your head and not care if you look nuts because nobody sees you anyway. But we're getting to the end of it. So I'm like, you kind of waited too long. And most guys, you look hot with it that short. Most guys can't pull that off. I like you with your natural color too.
I mean, I always have my natural. It looks really brown right now, but like it's actually in the sun. Like, I mean, I don't really color my hair. Whenever you see it, it's my natural. It's just that when it's so short, yeah, from the sun and stuff. But I I was like, as I was doing it, it was kind of this like panic. What the fuck have I done, basically?
When you're halfway through.
Yeah. I like shaved the center. I was like, there.
That was smart because you wouldn't have gone through with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, there is no going back. So it was kind of this moment of like, what have I done? / relief, because now I don't have hair in my face. But it was definitely like a moment of a very conflicted moment.
I think
need
you
to send
should
you
keep
that
it for a
video. It's
while.
really
I
funny.
like it. Yeah, you do need to send me that video. That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, I've been liking it. It's I haven't had my hair this short since I was like 7. So it's been
You actually look, believe it or not, you look more mature with it shorter.
Yeah.
Like you look more your age with it shorter. You don't,
Yeah.
some people it's like, oh my God, you look like a fetus now. You look so young.
Yeah.
Like you always look so young that now
Yeah.
you kind of look more like the boss.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't been Botox or anything in a while too, so that may be adding to the age value.
You are too young to be doing Botox. Look at these lines that I've earned.
No.
I've earned every single one of these frown lines. Now,
I mean,
Ian, I tried to talk Ian out of opening a salon. He will tell you, we were at our reunion. Instead of Brokeback Mountain going into the mountains, we meet at the Behind the Chair show. That's the only time we get to see each other. It's our annual weekend, and we laugh our asses off. So we're at the cocktail party, and Ian's like, girl, I'm opening a salon. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And I'm like, oh, please, Ian, please don't do it. Because I was stressed out of my mind in the middle of like wanting to implode my salon. And he did not listen. And I'm so happy that he did not, because he's had a lot of success. And I'm sure a lot of the stress that I tried to warn him about, but
a lot of
he has a bit of a thicker skin than me. I'm a little beat up. I was a little further on.
I'm a little beat up, girl.
I can imagine. But my favorite thing about Ian is his fearlessness. Like he tries stuff that we just think about trying, and he is not afraid. He just jumps in and does it. And he didn't invite me. I invited myself to spend the day in his salon. And as an educator, it was one of the best days I've ever had, because it's nice to see. Do you have earphones? We're getting a little bit of feedback. Do you have your little earbuds?
I can get some.
Yeah, see if you can get them.
Hold on, let's see.
Go ahead. So what was I talking about? I lost my train of thought.
You were at the salon and you invited yourself.
Oh, I invited myself. So I invited myself to go to see him, and he's in DC. I was in PA. So I was like, I am not doing that drive. I've heard the drive is a nightmare to DC. Like at a certain point, it's like gridlock traffic. So I'm not a big public transportation person. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to be a big girl and take the train. So my husband drives me to the train station. I have my bag in the trunk, and I have like a little briefcase type bag that's on my person. And we get to the train station and we see the train coming. So my husband's like, go, 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 go. So I book it out of the train, and I get down to the platform and I jump on the train, and my heart's pounding. I'm like, whew, I made it. And I'm like, oh, it's a little chilly on this train. Let me grab my sweater out of my bag. I'm like, shit, my bag is in my husband's car. And something happened to my cell phone the morning of. So I had my husband's phone with me, and he now didn't have a phone because mine was broken. So I couldn't even call him and say, hey, I don't have a bag. So I get there, I go to Ian's salon, and, you know, everybody was so friendly. It's a very high-end salon, very like fancy pants, where it could easily be intimidating, but it was not at all intimidating. It was super friendly and so organized, down to the cups for the cappuccino and the, you know, what was the drink that I was so impressed with that you had? Was it the La Croix? What did you have, like a refrigerator full of?
We had the like the Perrier.
Perrier.
Or we had the Perrier. We have a lot of drinks. It's
but like in a glass, you know what I mean? Like I hate when I go into on a plate and served with service and a smile, which, you know, of course now that's all gonna be a little weird, but everything was up leveled, and he was blurting out prices at this Behind the Chair show that he was going to charge. I'm like, dude, I don't know about this. Like, you're going to starve. Like, you cannot just go in like gangbusters like that. And again, he proved me wrong. He's getting the prices. He's busy all the time. And he has a way of...
Well, the prices too, I was charging those already. You know what I mean? Like before I opened, like those were my prices for me to begin
for you
with.
personally.
For me, yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. But you also had people traveling a distance to stay with you. Yeah. So that was a big gamble, which I love.
Yeah.
You took a gamble and you won.
Sometimes things work out.
Every once in a while. So Ian's zone of genius to me is his glazing formulas and his glazing techniques. He has figured out a way to, make the glazes seamless. He does a lot of melting and he does a lot of different techniques with it. And when I see so often, literally every single day, there's entire forums. And I know Ian doesn't have time for the forums. I waste way too much time and it raises my blood pressure seeing the same question over and over and over again. And when I spent the day with him, he would lift someone and I'd be peeking over his shoulder, trying not to be annoying. And I would look at it and say, she was done. I'm like, oh, she's done, dude. Get her to the sink. And he's like, no. 2 more minutes. I'm just going to watch it. And he would take it to that next level without making it, like Elsa Mush. White ready to snap off. Like there's that dance, right? In between. But I was always leaving it a little bit more yellow than I should have. And he's like, no, trust the process. And then the glaze that he would put on would be this concoction that I was like, what the hell, dude? Where did that come from? And he's trying to eat his lunch. And I'm like, wait, what was that combination? And why did you use that with that? So that is what your zone of genius is, that and knowing, you and I both teach in a way that most others don't, in that there is no way to get a brass free level 8 on a level 5. Like people just keep trying to do it and they won't listen that it's not possible. And it's so frustrating.
I've seen some of those forums, and the thing that I think is really funny about all of this is like, so, I've been in the industry over 15 years, you know what I mean? And in that time, the same questions are still being asked by the same people. You know what I mean? It's like, I used 8.1 and 30 volume. Why is the hair brassy?
Why is it orange?
I used 8.1 and 20 volume. Why is it orange? And everyone keeps missing the mark. You know what I mean? And same with highlights too. It's like, this is brassy. What do I do? And it's like, well, you either overpromised and underdelivered. You couldn't get the hair light enough, or you didn't get the hair light enough. Usually they didn't get the hair light enough, not that they couldn't get the hair light enough.
Right.
Or they get this, like me. Or they rinse it all at once. So this is white, and then this is orange. And right, so for me, if I'm highlighting, painting, whatever, most of my work is painting. But if I am foiling, I rinse in multiple sections. I'm always rinsing when it's done. I'm never letting it sit longer. And if something needs to sit, I let it sit. If 5 foils are done, but 5 aren't, then those 5 come out, the other 5 don't, So, we have to set ourselves up for success. We have to understand what's happening in the hair. If an area is not lifting, I'm going to go over that area again. We have to, I think, get ahead of problems, not just be reactive to them. Excuse me. About to sneeze, maybe not.
Watermelon.
I think,
look up at the light.
I think there's a lot of people that just keep making the same mistake and don't learn, and they don't learn. That's how I learned about doing lighter hairline formulas, is very early in my career, before anyone did lighter hairlines, I didn't know anyone that did. And I kept running into like 6N looking like 5N on the hairline. Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell? It's so dark, And so I started playing around with, and then the next time my highlights would be gone because the hairline's black, you know what I mean? So I just figured that out on my own, but we have to be more of a problem solution based culture. And so many times we do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and don't figure out why we're having the same issue over and over. And the reality is that for example, the hairline thing, it always grabs a level darker around the face, always. And everyone's so hung up. And then I hear people, that are like, oh, that doesn't happen to me. And I'm like, that's impossible. Like It happens to everyone.
You're in denial.
Just that you're in denial. You don't look, you over highlight it maybe to compensate, or you're scared you're not going to get coverage. You're not trusting the process. 7N on the hairline will cover, you putting 6N all over it and slamming it on it will look much darker than the rest of the head, you know? So we have to be more problem solution based and trust the process. You know what I mean? If that foil's not done, why are you taking it out? Oh, I'm scared. Okay, well, is the hair, you know, feel the hair like in the foil. Is it okay? Is it intact? Is it gummy? And if it is, then you didn't do a good enough job in the consultation process, most likely, you know?
Right.
And if I'm doing a big correction, I'm doing test strands. You know what I mean? I want to know what I'm up against, you know? So I think people think things like that, like test stranding, or, you know, even if it's a bleach and tone going back down to their more natural, I'm doing multiple test strands to make sure my formula is right. Because I'd rather do a few spots and have it not go right than do the whole head and have it not go right. Then I have a huge correction on top of my correction I'm already in, you know? So I'm a big fan of figuring out what I'm up against. If, you know, I had a client that came in, she had been coloring her hair black for years and wanted to go lighter. So I did a test strand of lightener and 30 volume in a foil for 15 minutes. 15 minutes later, did not do a single thing.
Still dark, yeah.
Still black. Didn't do it a single thing. Like, not at all. Like blonde or 30 volume. 30 minutes, I even used a blow dryer to heat it for a few seconds. Nothing. And I'm like, okay, this is silly.
This is not
crazy.
happening, right?
We're not doing this. I'm like, grow it out. You know what I mean? But like if I would have done that whole head and started, that would have been a nightmare. There was one band on her hair that lifted red, and that was it.
It's the best you were going to get. Yeah.
And I'm like, we're not going to have a spotlight of red around her head, and just to take it back down to black. So then I recolored that one little area with that one little foil where it was red. The ends I didn't touch because they were still black. Moved on. You know, it's like, I mean, I'm not going to try to promise that to a client because that's just crazy. Like, what am I? Who's winning in that situation? You know.
Right.
So, I just am a big believer in, you know, figuring out, making sure that we know what we're up against. I think using common sense, really. You know, if I have a problem where the hairline keeps getting dark, logically that would tell me that I need to use a lighter formula around the hairline. You know, if I was, you know, glazing and I was having the same issue over and over where the ends were grabbing darker and, you know, than the roots, then that lets me know I need a different formulation or a different processing time, you know? So I think it just comes down to like really, really using your eyes and getting ahead of things. Like if I see something going dark, take it off. If I see something, you know, going funky, open, you know, like get ahead of it, like what, you know, as best as I can, you know? So, a lot of what I do is really, really logical. Like I don't have like usually formulas with 20,000 things in it. I don't usually, you know, have the off the wall patterns. Like I work very simply. Yeah, you know, but I don't overcomplicate it. And I think so many people want to have like, I did this foil pattern and that. And I'm like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter what it looks like on the head. What is the finished result?
What's the finished result? 100%.
You know, when everyone gets so hung, like when I first started doing hair, I was like, the foils need to look like presents. They need to be perfectly packaged and everything needs to be on a line. And I kind of learned eventually, like, okay.
It's a waste of time.
The only thing that matters is like what's in the foil and how it looks when it comes out of the foil. That's
100%.
So, you know, the pattern, all of these things do not matter. The end result is what matters. And that's it. That is what the client is paying for. That's it. You know, obviously there's technicalities to it, like no bleed marks, no this, making sure you get consistent lift, you know, all of those things. But at the end of the day, the end result is the only thing that matters, you know, and the integrity of the hair. And I think that's it, you know, and I think it's really important to master a few things, you know, like figure out a few things that really work well for you, master them, and you'll have a lot of success, you know. That doesn't mean do the same look all day long. I don't mean that, but I mean master. Right. I just mean master, you know, a pattern or two, really understand lift and deposit, and that's it. I mean, you can do 3 things to hair. You can make it lighter, you can make it darker, you can change the tone. That's it. So that's all you can do. So when you think of it that simply, and when I train my assistants, I'm like, this is all you got, guys. Like, is it too light? Is it too dark? You know, they're like, they get stuck on the gloss or something. I'm like, you know, and they're like, well, it's too light. I'm like, okay, cool. So what level is it now? What level do you want it to be? You know, and it's, do you want to enhance the warmth? Do you want to neutralize it? Do you want it to be cool? Like, what is your end result? And, you know, when you just start thinking this, like A to B, B to C, C to D, it's really, it takes a lot of the like anxiety praying in the back color room out of it, you know?
I think the biggest issue that I see anyway on most of these questions is that, you know, I'll try to answer as nicely as I can to make it sound like I'm not like trying to be a know-it-all, but I know the answer that they just keep asking the same question and they don't want my answer. They want the recipe. You know, they put the picture up with the hands and the hair and the back of the head all, and they don't say where they're starting from.
Exactly.
And they will literally get in 324 responses of recipes.
Yeah.
And they're going to choose. I just had a girl, I call them assholes when they ask and then they don't listen to what I say anyway. So I'm like, I'm moving on. I'm not answering anymore because you asked, I answered, and you chose to do the one. And then they go that it didn't work. And I'm like, well, you chose the wrong answer. So she was doing like a strawberry blonde and she asked for all this advice. And then she was like, oh, I gave her a whole step 1, step 2, step 3, because that's what they want, a recipe. Mm-hmm. But I asked, where are you coming from? Let me see a photograph of you, what you have now. Boom, 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 boom. So that is the biggest misconception. I just took a screenshot. I'm going to do a whole class on it for my Hair Color Secrets Insiders. It's like 10 of someone's favorite Shades EQ glosses. And it's all these little mixtures. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, I need that. Where did you get that? Taking photo, you know, shots of it and everything. And I'm like, no, I'm going to take that list and I'm going to take it a step further. And we're going to swatch that list and we're going to see it. This is what it looks like on this color hair. This is what it looks like on this color hair. This is what it looks like on this color hair, because that's what's really happening.
Well, and it also depends on that same length of hair. It's going to look completely different at the root area than it is
on the zones.
Yep. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that's the other thing. Everyone wants this, like, what do I do? How do I get there? One dump. Or they want the magic formula. And it's like, there isn't one. It's called having a technical skill, having an understanding of color, and then applying
goes
that.
Back to this.
It goes back to that. And having
never going away.
having an understanding of the whole thing, not just use this formula, this is what you're going to get. It's like, where are you starting? You know, did you get even lift? Did, you know, all of these things. And we have to take all that into account. It's not, you know, and where are they, you know, what is the texture of their hair? You know, do they have color existing on there, you know, you know, what, all of that, you know? So in order to get some of these pictures that everyone wants, it's also not just a formula. It's like, how are you highlighting it? How are you, you know, what are you putting in the foil? Like, what are you leaving out of the foil? Or what are you painting? What are you not painting? All of what you leave out is just as important as what you put in, you know? And, you know, the negative space and everything. So I think it's important to stop looking for just these one flat answers, because every single head, it's going to be a different formula. 100%. You know, 6N on, you know, me and you is going to look completely different, you know? And 6M with 10 volume is going to look different than 6M with 20 volume, you know? And in some cases, maybe I want the higher volume, maybe I don't, you know? But I think it really, you know, which is why I love what you're doing. It really comes back to understanding hair color and then taking all of that knowledge and applying it to formulation, not looking for just a formula, you know? And
magic pill.
Yeah, you know, and there, of course, are moments where those things, you know, end up working, and that's great. But then they use it again, and it doesn't. And why does it not? Because they don't
porosity,
have the same.
texture.
Yeah, and they don't have the same starting level. They don't have the same porosity. They don't have, you know, the same texture. Who knows, you know? So I think it's important for people to really invest in proper education of learning the basics and the foundation. And if you don't have a good foundation, you know, the glitzy, fancy stuff doesn't matter. You know, doing a really solid single process, to me, that's where all my assistants start. And they don't move on to highlighting or anything until they can do that.
Mastered it, yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of things for me that go into a single process. You know, and it's, you know, for me, obviously the hairline needs to be even or a touch lighter. not darker, right? No one wants darker hair around their face. And on 99% of our clients, every single person gets a lighter formula. The only time maybe I wouldn't is like, let's say they have gray nowhere except just the hairline. So naturally that may look a little lighter. And I'm using shades or a demi or something, maybe that, you know. But other than that, every single client gets a lighter hairline formula. So the hairline always looks even or a touch lighter, you know. And application, you know, I use a bottle for most of my singles, as do you. I know for a while you still do, right? So for me, it's really important, you know, with maybe I use for Misi too. So one of their lines,
that's going to give you tendonitis.
Yeah, I can't use a bottle with that. But whatever you're using, you're able to apply the single process where you need that color. So
not smearing it down the
like, I mean, I have clients that come in every 2 weeks, you know, and so I have to apply the color just on their regrowth, you know, and that way my highlights get, you know, a lot of durability. So I'm not
more
erasing the
longevity.
highlights. I just did, you know, and so a single process is very technical, and it's also, you know, a lot about formulation, a lot about application. If you have a great formula and a poor application, it doesn't matter, you know, or vice versa. So for me, I think it's really important in understanding that first, and understanding the color wheel, understanding lift and deposit, and understanding that the difference between that and a highlight. Because for me, generally, highlights create lightness. A base color erases gray, right? Unless I want.
Yeah, stop trying to get your lightness from a bottle. That's like the theme of today's chat.
Oh my God.
Some people bond over bands. Ian and I bonded over Beth Minardi. When we first met, he was blowing out my hair, and we were talking about Beth Minardi and how we both stalked her our entire career, and how most of our basics of formulation and universal laws of lift came from Beth. So that's why we can speak the same language. And as an educator now, Ian impressed me the most when I had the awesome opportunity to be his model at a class that he did in my area at a beautiful education facility. And it was his class, him alone. He had all these different, you know, things going on. And my hair, at the last foils, for me, I'm telling you the truth, I would have taken it off. I would have been like, screw this. I got to get back to the stage. Nobody's going to come up that close and look at it. And he did not take my hair down until it was completely done, to the point where people were leaving the class because it went over, because they weren't going to stay to see me done. They're like, we got to go. We're going to get stuck in traffic. And he was like, no, I'm not taking it down. It's not ready. And that sticks with me, Ian. I talk about you in every one of my classes, because I'm like, that is a true artist. Like, you were not going to give me, look at me, my bathroom balayage during COVID. I get impatient on myself and I take it off too soon, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm cold. I'm naked in my bathroom. I want to do other things. I want to get this the hell off my head. And that is a true artist and a true professional, and why you are so successful, because you're like, no, I know that when I take this off, I cannot glaze away this brassiness that I'm leaving behind. And that is the key, guys. If you get nothing out of this conversation, you cannot outglaze a brassy result. So stop being lazy with your lifting. It's lazy lifting that is getting you brassy results. And it is globally trying to lighten people and thinking you're going to get that champagne, beigey, beautiful, light-ish, dark blonde, leaning on, you know, light brown, dark blonde with no red. It is a unicorn. And if you discover it, we're going to live next to each other on the beach in Malibu, because we're going to be so wealthy that, you know, we're not going to need a thing for the rest of our lives, because it does not exist, because God made us this way. We have things in our body that cannot be broken through without extreme
with lightener
chemicals like lightener, you know? So, it's so frustrating. And I try to get to as many people early in their career as I can. And then I get it all in them. And then they go into a job where the owner goes, oh no, put an 8.1 on there, lighten everything up. It'll make your life easier. And I'm like,
and it's orange.
Then it's orange. And then I get an email. How do I fix this? I'm like, this is why we talked about not doing it in the first place.
I mean,
frustrating.
The easiest orange to fix is the orange you don't create, you know?
Yes.
And for me, most of my, I mean, I do a ton of gray coverage, you know what I mean? Like, and I would say a lot of my gray coverage, I use demi-permanent color. If someone hates warmth, like hates warmth,
Yep.
a lot of times I'm using demi-permanent color. And I'm going to use, I use a lot of Formulation. So for me, I use.
I got stuff to try that. You told me to try that, and I haven't done it yet. I need to
It's
do
okay
that.
to talk about like brands and stuff, right?
Oh,
Like which brands,
absolutely.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm a
So
brand free bitch. You know
I
that.
use, I've used every color line under the sun. I love Color Touch. I really like Eclectic by Formisi. Those are probably two that I really, really love. Okay.
Eclectics, they're demi cream.
Yeah. It's a pretty thick consistency. It's gives amazing coverage. So I use that a lot for great coverage. If they want 100% coverage, and even that I can get like 100% coverage on a lot of people with, honestly. But the grout is still a little softer, and I don't get all this warmth because I'm not creating lift. It is a true like demi. It does not lift. Whereas Wella is pretty
Color
much,
Touch, you can get a little bit
you
of.
can get a little bit of bumping, but not as much as like Richesse L'Oreal, which is like,
Oh,
which is
absolutely.
permanent color to me. It's like the hair is orange when it comes back, if you're not
Well,
careful.
the best line I ever heard, and I want to make sure that I get this in there, is people are going to listen to us right now and say, what? He's covering gray with demi. You can't do that. It washes off. The best line ever was Beth said it at our in-person retreat for the Hair Color Secrets Insiders. She surprised everybody and came live. It was amazing. And she said, the only difference between permanent and demi-permanent is the lift and brassiness that permanent creates.
Exactly.
And I was like, that says it all, because that's the only thing you're missing out on is that lift and warmth. So if you're struggling with brassiness, give the demi a chance. Let it do its thing. And I mean, it saved me. Like I said, I don't look good right now. I need to be done. But every picture I look at before you formulated me with the demi, I'm so gold and just like that orange brassy. It fights with my skin. I absolutely hate it. And I'm like, oh, where was this formula 15 years ago? It was like life-changing. And I shout it from the rooftops every chance I get. And then the glaze, the 9RB, 9P and clear, that was life-changing because in between, I get that urine yellow that comes with the minerals and just, life. And I do that for a couple minutes, like once, every 4 weeks or 5 weeks, I run that through for 5 minutes and it's like pop.
Refresh.
Awesome. Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and I even use like Shades EQ for, obviously, your formula and stuff. It's like I use Shades EQ for great coverage for some, and I think it's important we understand too, if my end goal is to make someone, like you, for example, you have a lot of hair, but it's fine hair. You're not looking for every hair to be the exact same color, right? Like you want to be a dimensional color. So why not give a dimensional coverage? You can then do less highlights to look dimensional. And
100%.
you get a better grow out. You get zero warmth, zero. And it's like that's where we have to be smarter because I can work a lot less hard. If I was foiling or painting, I could do a lot less pieces with a lot more bang because I already have a dimensional finish where it's floating over as opposed to like, covered.
And you're not fighting to get through all that inkiness of a heavy, opaque color
thing. Yeah. So for me, I always, ask a few questions like, with my clients or whatever. And at the end of the day, I always tell my assistants and everyone I'm training, permanent color equals lift. Lift equals warmth. So unless I want, and maybe not that day, maybe that day it looks pretty neutral or pretty cool, but as it fades, it will always fade warmer than how it left, right? And we must not be surprised that something comes back a little warmer than how it left. If, I don't care, what products they're using and how much they're using the best, they're staying out of the sun, they're wearing a hat, there still is oxidizing happening on the hair. And we also have to think too, not only the lift that's exposed, right? But think if you leave a towel outside in the sun, right? The towel that's left outside, there are color molecules in that towel. There's dye on that towel that makes that color. It's a colored towel, and that will fade. So when hair color in general fades, we have to also understand that like there are color molecules on the hair outside of lift that are also fading, right?
So there's two things fading on
Two
the hair.
things.
The
Yep.
lift that we created, and that's rearing its head, but also color molecules will lighten some. So that, you know, all things, whether it's a dye on our towel, you know, a dye molecule in our hair, all of those molecules will oxidize and they will fade as well. So sometimes the more opaque things you put on, you know, like for me, like I used to, you know, years ago I used Wola KP at times, you know, and it's not my, you know, favorite line, but it used to be very opaque, and I found that it came back pretty red or pretty, it, you know, it left nice, but it came back definitely really faded. And it wasn't just the residual warmth in some really opaque lines from the, you know, it wasn't just fading from the lift I had exposed, but also the molecules themselves of the color were fading, you know. And so the nuance of how each line fades is also a little bit different. You know, it's a little different with each line. You know, the bases they use in those lines, all of that plays a part in it. So it's important we understand whatever we are using, what those background colors are, how they do fade, so we can plan accordingly. So I'm a big believer in experimenting and using a lot of different lines. I've used every line on the market, but I also think
Yes, you have.
it's really important to know what that color looks like faded, you know, so I can not only plan for when they leave, but for when they come back, like how are they going to come back, right? So I'm not surprised if they're not surprised. And so a few things I always ask when I'm formulating my clients, or things I think about, are, you know, is, do I want to create lift or not? You know, and then what kind of finish do I want? Do I want opaque or translucent? And for me personally, I prefer a translucent finish on blondes.
Me too. Yeah.
Because I think it looks more real. So, and then I start my formulation process after that. But I think there's two questions that a lot of people don't ask. They just reach for the box. And I think it needs to be a conscious choice of, do I want to create lift or not? And then what is the finish I want? And do I want opaque or do I want translucent? And I think those two things alone open up the mind to really understand what the finished result will look like more. And then I can create my formula based off of that, right? So if I'm okay with lift, which means I'm okay with some warmth as it fades, either that day or as it fades, then that's fine. I mean, some people I want to make warmer, you know, or I want to have them look like a warm light brown, you know, or, you know, something that's chestnut, or a redhead, for example, a strawberry blonde. Those are things, great. But I don't want a strawberry blonde base on someone that wants to be a blonde, right? So I don't want to create a strawberry blonde base on someone that wants to be a blonde. They want a neutral base with highlights, you know?
Right.
White highlights in strawberry blonde hair isn't cute. You know, that's not, nature doesn't do that. So for me, I think that it comes down to really understanding those few questions first. And then, you know, the formulation is, you know, is fairly easy as far as, you know, I mean, I'm also a low developer user with bases. So like if I'm using permanent color, I rarely use 20 volume, like rarely. Like I mostly use 10. And everyone thinks 10 volume does not cover. And I'm like, I get coverage with 10 volume and a demi. Like, how do you think 10 volume would not cover with permanent color?
With permanent,
you know,
right.
It's just that application, that's when people want to blame their formulation. And it's
100%.
like, no, that is your application.
Anytime I see a gray question on any of the form, it's like, I need to switch lines. This line, it's not the color.
It's not the color.
Formulation, number one, application, number two, and timing. Some people don't give it enough time to do its job. They're always in a rush. They're applying it with, they take sections. They're doing this, all the way down over the highlights. And then the next section is like, I can't do this in the camera. It's like, like 2 inches in between.
Not pre-sectioning like any quadrants out. So they're like missing spots. I'm like
missing. I am like a surgeon. When people watch me do a touch up, they're like, a sales rep came in and they're like, what is she doing? And the girls were like, she's doing a touch up. And they're like, I've never seen it done that way. And I was like, well, I need to be an educator, because if people are not putting color, if you can't even apply color that someone hands you a formula for, start working on that. Start working
Yeah.
on your application, because you need to, I cross-check, I apply vertically all the way around the head,
Mhm.
and then I go back horizontally and recheck for dry
Yeah.
spots or
Me
any
too.
little stubborn, I call them FU grays, the FU
Yeah.
grays that pop up out of the formula. I like beat them down with a flat brush. I start doing this, like patting it to get it
Yeah,
down.
me too.
Or like I'll put like an end paper on one that really has an attitude around the hairline. I'll
I do it on the
smash one of
hairline
those on there.
sometimes. I just tap it. I use the plastic caps. We have plastic caps, and they don't have the elastic, so they're just these like squares of plastic. And so I cut them into like little strips, like
little strips, yeah, just,
and they're like probably 12, like they're probably like a foot long, and I just take them around and I just tap them in the hairline on people that are really resistant. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it's for application. Every single application I do, if I start at the top and then I work to the bottom, then on my way back up, I go from the bottom up and I tap it all down, make sure I check everything. If I use a bottle, I do the whole head with a bottle, and then I repeat the whole head with a bowl and brush just to make sure that I haven't missed anything.
Tap it and get that like friction.
Make sure I haven't missed anything. Make sure everything's covering. And for my singles, I allot 45 minutes. Like, I'm not trying to like slam it on.
Well, when you were talking earlier, that kept popping up into my mind about all the things that make you different and allow you to charge the prices that you charge, all come down to timing and giving people your time. Like when you're rushed, I hear people doing, like 15-minute appointments for their singles. I'm like, you can't even get the person a robe and coffee in 15 minutes and say, how are you? And mix the color. That's 15 for me.
And what if their regrowth is like that? How the hell do you do a touch up on a whole head of hair with a regrowth like that?
Right.
Without doing the touch up like that all over the whole head. Because easy to do that, but that's not a $200 single. That's not even $100. In my mind, that's not even a $100 single. That's like they can do that at home.
At home, right. And that's what, I know we didn't want to talk about the situation because we're so sick to death of it. And that's why this conversation is so refreshing. But when people come back, that's what's going to happen. People are going to take one formula and do this all the way down, not realizing that this hair is no longer needing that formula. This needs to be treated differently because it's 6 feet away from the scalp. So that's a whole other conversation. Yeah. My favorite thing that you said at the in-person event, you're one of the few people that when I go as a student, I have a notebook filled with aha moments. So it's hard for me with being in the industry as long as I have been, it's hard for me to be wowed. You never stop wowing me. So kudos to you for that. It's hard to wow this girl. But what you said, it sticks in my mind as, people talk about this inkiness and this banding, but you were like, listen, if you do a 5N over and over and over again, and you're doing that retouch, like we're talking about, where you're doing the schmear, a 5N overlapped 2 or 3 times is now a 4N. You've created a 3N or a 3N. Like that over stretching and over applying, you're no different than a client doing it in her bathroom with getting those inky ends using the corrections in the box. What's the difference? Why are you special? They shouldn't even be going to you anymore.
I mean, it's my favorite is when I see people like, oh, I don't overlap. And then I see them do this and the hairline
hair is all
color from here to here.
From here.
Yeah, I'm like, if I were to hold that section up, the regrowth was this, and the color you just applied is this. And when they rinse, the hairline is like 1B. I'm like, and they start there too. So I'm like, oh great, now it sits there for an hour. That it's an hour and some. It's sitting there, just looking black. So I think people need to be more self-aware and like be more real with themselves. It's like, look in the mirror, like. You have to be honest with yourself. Like, that is step one.
Right.
Same with if you don't like something.
You're part of the problem.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like everyone wants to blame the color line. Everyone wants to blame this. Everyone wants to blame that. It's like, no. The only way you're going to get better, the only way is own your mistakes. Right? Something went wrong. You were steering the ship. You don't know something well enough. And that's okay. Like, I don't claim to, be perfect or anything. But if I do make a mistake, I never blame the client. I never blame my assistant. Something went wrong. And I now, the only way I'm going to really fix it is if I own that. You know what I mean? Not trying to be like, oh, well, are you on medication? Or,
I love that. She's on medication.
Oh, or this or that. I'm like, no, you don't know how to, and when these conversations are happening with people regularly where they're like surprised by an end result, it's like, okay, that's fine. You're not at a place where you know why this is happening, but there's enough resources out there that can help you with that.
Yeah.
Get some education, find people that you align with, and work your ass off. There's no magic to that. But you have to be honest about that. I've heard so many times people say, nope, not when I use 8.1. It's not orange. And then I see the, I'm like, okay, show me. And I'm like, okay, let's call it what it is. It's like, that's an orange banana. Like that is yellow, orange. Like, I don't know
orange
how,
banana.
Same with when clients are like, it's red. And they're like, it's not red. I'm like, it's red.
It's red. Yeah, they won't admit it. They're like,
I'm like,
no,
it's reddish.
no.
Like, come on.
It's the light. Go in the bathroom.
If that was on your head, you would consider that too warm, right? Warm. It's not red like a fire truck, but it's not a whole neutral brown,
Unattractively warm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like, own it, and then understand what can I do to get resolution for this problem, and then how do I not make this problem next time? If you had too much warmth, chances are you overlifted or you didn't go dark enough or cool enough with your formulation at the scalp. So start there. But I think honestly, like, I don't want to be like, like Beth always says, like, I don't want to be a pill about this, but I am a pill about some of this stuff is like, just own your mistakes. You're going to learn so much more when you do. Absolutely. It's okay saying you don't know.
Don't try to hide it. Don't send them off. Don't like hairspray the piece over that blender and pray that she doesn't notice. Like say, oh shit, you got to bleed. Come sit. I'm going to put that, something on your hair. I don't want you leaving like that. Own it. And
it takes literally like no time at all to fix.
Yeah.
But it's like the client, the trust they feel for me was like invaluable.
100%.
So I think that is just so important. But yeah, I mean, I think it just really comes down to just owning some of our shit and our mistakes. And then the doors really open up,
100%. And I love what you said about application, because I have been trying desperately to find someone to deal with me and doing my color, because I don't know how clients like doing it at home. I've been doing this 33 years. I don't want to do my roots. I want to sit. I want to read a magazine. I want to have a cappuccino. I want to talk. I want to be social. So I go to this salon in my area, and first I call and I say, I'm either going to be the easiest client you've ever had or your biggest nightmare, because I'm going to tell you exactly what I want you to use on my hair. Do you carry Redken Shades EQ? Yes, we do. Do you have this, and this is my formula? Do you have that in stock? Yes, we do. Do you have the gel processing solution? Yes, we do. So I don't believe them. So I bring a bottle of each with my gel developer in a little tote bag, and I go into the appointment and I say, I'm sorry to be difficult, but I'm a colorist. I just want somebody to put it on for me. I know my formula. It's already set, blah, blah, blah. She's like, okay, we have it, whatever. So then I said, and I'm going to ask you one more thing. Can you please start in the right back at the occipital, do the whole entire back first, then come around and do my sides, and then do down my part last, because I'm a blondorexic. I don't want to have an inky dark part. I don't want it deep. And the menopausal inky hairline, the whole bit. So she goes, what are you talking about? That makes no sense. It doesn't matter where you start. I'm like, well, it kind of does. And I was trying to be like nice about it and not be total queen bitch. So she's like, whatever. So she starts applying it in the back. She goes straight down the middle and then boom, right up here. It's just habit. She goes right up. And I was like, can you, and I'm like doing this, trying to like weasel away from her. And I was like, I'm like, can you not do right here? Remember I asked you to, okay. So then she just does her thing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be dark and inky, which I was. And then when she sets the timer, she goes, okay, 20 minutes. I'll come back for you. And I said, actually, do you mind leaving it on 40 minutes for me? Why? It fully processes in 20 minutes. It doesn't do anything after 20 minutes.
Oh,
and I'm like, okay, I know that that's in the instructions, but like, this is my head. This is what I do. I know that when I rinse it off in 20 minutes, I'm going to have gray. So can you just humor me? Like, if you can't blow me dry or whatever, like I'll leave with it on my head if you're not going to let me sit here for an extra 20 minutes. And she was like so annoyed by me.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm telling you this story is a lot of colorists are not open to the information. That's the most frustrating thing for you and I. Like, we're so willing to share, but some people can't hear it and can't try it. Like when you said 9RB, 9P and clear, I'm like, dude, what the hell? 9RB? What's that all about? And it is magic. It is like my favorite formula, but I trust you. And I know you would never tell me to do something that would screw up my hair or anybody else's. So again, it goes back to that trust factor of finding a mentor that you hear how they speak, it resonates with you, and you trust at least enough to try it on a swatch. If not trusting on somebody's head, try it on a swatch, try it for yourself, and open your eyes and your world. Like, you know, we have 50 some people watching this live, and we're probably going to have another couple hundred watching the replay. I hope they're busy cutting up their little plastic thing and putting it around the hairline. And if they got just that from this conversation, that's what we want to happen. You know, it's like sharing the knowledge and caring enough for other professionals to up level. You know, I want you to do a little bit of bragging right now and share your prices. So if I came in with my annoying gray and you touched up my painted pieces on my length hair with no haircut, just color, regrowth, highlights, and a blowout, what would my ticket be?
So my single is $220.
You hear that, guys? $220 for a single.
My highlights start at like, I think like 300 or something, and then a blowout.
What's my bill? What's my bill? Do I need a sugar daddy on the way home in DC to pay my bill?
So yeah, I don't know, like, I mean, and then a blowout, I don't know, like $600.
So 600, and Ian is booked with a waiting list at all times. So people who say, I can't raise my retouch from 35 to 37. I'm like, people, let's all do this together. Yes, he's in Washington, DC. Yes, he's in an amazing location, but he also has to really be at a high level of service and on his game, because you can't disappoint at that level. So that comes with the territory. And his rent is not going to be the same where he is in DC as you in the middle of a cornfield in middle America. Like, don't compare, you know, oh, he can do that because you don't need to be 500, but for God's sake, stop being 35. A tube of color.
I started, my prices were, I think, 50. And, you know, like years, I mean, this is like, you know, probably like 13 years ago or something. But, yeah, I started my price with like 50 for a single, and you know, my highlights were like 100 or something. I don't know. But I have clients, and I moved to a different area from Baltimore to DC, and I still have clients that started with me at those prices that have followed me up and, you know, and pay, you know, like a lot more per service. So when people get really bent out of shape about raising your prices, I think it's important to first always make sure that you like own your shit, you know,
You
like
deserve it. You deserve it. You're not just pulling a number out of your ass
number
because XYZ down the street did it. Yeah.
I think everyone should be charging enough to make a profit off of their services. You know, a tube of color, you need to figure out how much you're using per client. All that needs to be taken into account, your profit margins, all that. But also, you need to make sure that if whatever you're charging, whatever your price is, you need to make sure that you're delivering a technically sound service and that the client feels good about being in your salon, and, you know, and they want to tell others about it. You know, that's the way, you know, you're ready to raise your prices. I only raised my prices due to demand. Supply and demand. So your clients are going to tell you when it's time to raise. It's not a feeling I get. So I'm at the prices I'm at now. I'm booked out 3 to 4 months solid. Like, no one can get in, you know, and that's not to brag. That's just a testament to hard work, delivering a great service. And, you know, when I jump prices, it's usually by $20 or $30. And, you know, my salon, we have 6 or 7 levels. And whenever we raise someone's prices, it's the demand on their time that determines it. It's not a feeling. It's not an emotion. It's not, oh, I think I'm ready. It's none of that. It's really just based on hard facts of, are you booked? You know, do you have a waiting list? Or, you know, we have certain percentages they need to be booked and all of that. But, you know, you have to use logic with that, and you have to and if you're not fully booked, don't raise your prices. But also, then why are you not fully booked? You know what I mean?
Look into that.
Yeah, look into that. And the moment you start figuring out where the disconnect is, because there is one, you know, especially if you've been doing this for a long time and you're not fully booked, something isn't right. And that's okay, right? You know, like, course correct. But, like, again, owning why that's not happening. You know, I have colorists that work for me like 2 years, 3 years and they have full books. And, you know, and they're booked out for like a month or, you know, or at least. And that just comes down to, I think, when you don't know something, that isn't the problem. It's just admitting you don't know something and then getting all the information you can to level up and to, you know, to find success. And that's why I love what you're doing, because I think it's so important for young colorists to learn this right away. And then even for seasoned colorists, it's like, it's never too late. If you want to make $150,000 a year or $100,000 a year, whatever your goal is, you can do that. You know, it's just figure out how many clients you need to do a week, what your prices need to be, and then work towards that goal. But if we don't have any goal in mind, then it's really hard to get there.
You're flying blind. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so yeah, I think that's why I love this, you know, the platform that you have, because I think it's so important for as many people to learn this early, and the ones that, you know, didn't learn this early, it's not too late. You know, there's time, you know, and you can
That's
work
what's interesting.
smarter.
Like, yeah, I'm in full, like, it's open enrollment right now for the membership. And the people that are signing up, when I get their little intro in the course, it's like, hi, my name is, I've been doing hair for, it's like 40 years, 30 years, 15 years. And you know, because you were part of me saying what I wanted to do from the beginning, from when I wrote the book and everything. And I was like, I just want to catch people right when they finish beauty school to say, no, wait, do it this way. You know, erase everything you just learned, which is sad that you have to do that. But put that out of your head. You passed the test. That's awesome. Let's now take it from here and change it up. And this is the way you're going to go about it. And I don't have a single student that is that description. It's all the people, to your point, that kind of fake their way through the first 10 to 12 years of getting by with the 7N and the 6N, the safe formulas. And they're okay with that little bit of brassiness because you're on medication, or, you know, you're using the wrong shampoo, and they just keep pulling these excuses out of their pocket, and clients will fall for it because, Ian, you know as well as I do, most clients don't know the difference between kick-ass color and okay color. They just know it's better than the box in their bathroom, and they're okay with that. So it's been amazing to me and so eye-opening to, like, my tribe are people who have been successful behind the chair, but they're grasping to get to that six-figure level, and they don't know what they're doing wrong, and they're getting in their own way with being fearful about charging the right prices, separating. You know, we talked about when you said my color, I said with a blow dry. People get all twisted when I say, why are you including a full blowout? Not just dry the hair to get them out the door and it looks okay. Like a full on beautiful blowout should not be done by you, the colorist, who can be doing a whole other high ticket color service. Train an assistant and have them do that blowout, because you're helping them learn, and the client's still getting an awesome blowout, but it's not taking up your time. That's how you need to get to the next level. Exactly. Yeah. It's like blow dries are, talk about the Formisi giving you tendonitis. A blow dry is going to give you carpal tunnel real quick. Yeah. And there's no, like,
and if you are doing the
enjoyment, like I don't love doing a blow dry. So for me, I'd much rather be doing a full corrective color at a really awesome hourly rate than standing there blowing dry your hair. I'm in menopause, so I'm sweating, the lips all sweaty, I'm shiny. I'm just like, when is this goddamn blow dry going to be over? I hate it. Yeah. So it's like, why do that if you hate it, you know? Or if you love it, at least charge for it as a separate service. Yeah.
Like, I love blow drying, but I rarely do it. I mean, every client of mine, like my last client of the day, I generally get because I like seeing my work, and I think it's important to have for colorists to go through their work and to check some of it, you know, but time is money and you need to charge for your time. and that's important. And yeah, I mean, it's like, if you're a colorist and you want to be successful, you need to have an assistant at some point. Maybe that's not something you can do today or tomorrow, but that should be a goal that you're working towards, so you can work smarter, not harder. And you can trust someone to do the glazes at the bowl for you. You can trust someone to, maybe help you blow dry or do the blow dry or things like that, and still charge for these services. Same with glossing. Like, I'm such a stickler that, like, when people say, oh, I charge extra for gloss, and I'm like, I think I'm such a big believer that it should be included in every price you charge. Because if you go to the hospital, Beth had always said this, but you're not going to pay extra to get sewn back up. So it's like, why are we giving them the option for the gloss? And it's fear. People are scared that the client's not going to want it. Well, that is your work, and you have to cultivate the clientele that you want. And you'd be surprised how many people notice the difference and are okay with paying for that. So in my salon, obviously everything is a la carte, but glosses never are, unless someone just came in for just a gloss.
Just a gloss, right?
But every highlight is glossed always. Maybe not always the ends, but always the roots. And it's never charged extra, because I don't want them to have to decide if they want a gloss. You're getting a gloss. And if a client, I've had a client or two over the years saying, oh, I don't want a gloss. And I just say, okay, well then you don't want highlights by me. This isn't something I do not negotiate with my clients on stuff like that. I'm like, this is not like, I would prefer not to. This is, okay, if you want highlights by me, I'm the professional.
And look how simply you just said that. I think that most people get so scared to speak up, and you just said it. Okay, that's fine, but you're not
that's fine.
I'm not your guy.
I'm just not for you. And I've had that conversation with clients, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but just know that I won't highlight your hair then. This isn't like, and I'm not going to go around and round and round, and they're like, oh, well, this gloss made my hair orange before, and I'm like, okay,
not by me.
Not by me. And a gloss, in my terms, will never make someone's hair orange, because a gloss is a demi-permanent color that's acidic, and it is scientifically impossible, basically, for that product to make your hair orange. If someone else, yeah, and that still is more alkaline, and I'm not glossing with a product that's alkaline usually. So again, that just goes back to, like, people being burned by colorists not understanding what they're using. Absolutely. Yeah, and the colorists didn't understand what they were using. They saw it work on one person, and they didn't understand. But they don't understand why the hair keeps coming kind of orangey, and stuff like that. When people are using base shifts or base bumps and all those things, and they're not understanding why the hair is turning orange. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, well, when you're bumping a base, for me, bumping a base, I don't do it a ton, but I do it sometimes. It's a slight shift. It is not going from a 6 to an 8. It is going from a 6 to a 6.5.
6.5.
Right? It is going up half a level, because I want to control it. And so for me, like, my favorite base bump formula on, like, level 6 and up, if I'm going to do it, is on damp hair. And it's Clairol 10N with double 10 volume. And the reason I do double 10 volume is because the color, or the ammonia, the ammoniated color, or hair color, permanent color, is alkaline, and the color is more acidic. So I'm diluting the alkalinity of my product by using more developer, which gives me a little bit more time for application. And when I'm doing this, like, I treat it like a retouch. So if I bumped their base last time, when I do it at the bowl the next time, I'm just doing the retouch. I'm not bumping the whole thing. Otherwise, this is blanche. You know what I mean?
It's interesting, though, that you used a 10. Why did you not use something cooler? I'm sorry, an N, not a 10. An N.
Oh, I'm using 10N? So I'll say this. If I'm bumping a base after a highlight, I can't use anything cooler, because it's going to affect my highlight.
So it's after a highlight, got you.
So yeah, if I'm just shifting the base on a blonde, let's just say, if I were to shift the base, which isn't often, but if I were, it would be generally on a blonde after a highlight. And it's only like 6 and up that I would do this way on. And I would do 10N. And again, because using something cooler, that coolness fades and I'm still creating warmth. So I'm going to be creating if I'm taking someone from a 6 or a 7 and I'm bumping their base, they will leave a touch warmer than how they came in. Right. And it's like, I'm okay with that. They're okay with that. They feel like it's too mousy, whatever. That's why I'm doing a base shift. I want it to look a little cleaner, not so like ashy. So I will do 10N, double 10 volume, start in the front, work to the back. By the time I get there, maybe a minute.
Right to the side. The old Gina Khan technique.
I'm in the bowl doing it. It's like maybe a minute, done. And I'm getting very little lift. And it's just, the hair just looks cleaner. And like they've been in the sun for a few days. And it does not look like a huge base shift, right? Because my highlights create my lightness. My base is just support for that, basically. So that is one thing. If I'm doing a dark 6 and below, I will probably bump it first. And I'm going to use something with some, because I'm dealing with more reds and stuff and oranges and stuff, I'm going to probably use, again, Clairol because it's liquid. I can get a very fast application.
I love that you rock the good old fashioned Miss Clairol. I just was on a phone call with one of my members. She had a question and she's like, I'm really embarrassed to tell you that I still use Miss Clairol. I said, girl, let me tell you something. My friend Ian charges a lot of money for his retouches and he loves him some good Miss Clairol because there is no drabber line other than you discovered some with Formisi, but Clairol used to be so monkey fur, rat fur, dark, ashy brown. And that's what we need now. Like we've gotten so far away from the classics. Mm-hmm. It's like we need to have this revival and dig into some good old Miss Clairol. Talk about being to apply too. Like you whip through, it's so liquid and easy other than that, the European thick colors. It's like it takes you forever to put it on. So you got to love some Miss Clairol. But something else that I wanted to touch on, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but something that really makes me crazy too is when you said, I only do a base bump on level 6 or lighter, and I don't do it that often. Have you seen what educators, not everyday people in a salon, educators and other people, what they consider to be a 6? Like I'll watch a class and they'll be like, she's a natural level 6 and it looks like Kim Kardashian. I'm like,
I know. Oh my God.
In what world is she a 6?
In what world? Oh my God.
I'm screaming at the screen and I'm like, and this is teaching people
out of shape what a 6. And like when people are like, we're using a 6 and we want to, like when someone shows a picture of something, and then what the educator or like the other people say, I would use an 8 or a 7. I'm like, she's a 5. How are you using an 8?
Yeah.
How in the fuck are you using an 8? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm just like, what? Like, where is this level finder that these people are looking at? And I'm actually in the process right now.
And have you ever used the tube of color? Screw the level finder. Have you used that tube of color? Does an 8 look like that to you? Like that's the part to me. I'm like, have you used this line before? Because in what world does the finished product look anywhere near that?
Right.
I mean, I don't understand.
But if you get that wrong, like if you're starting your formulation and you're thinking Kim Kardashian is a 6, hello, you're gonna be super orange, like beyond megawatt, fluorescent brassiness because they're so dark naturally, and you're considering them a 6. So if you're doing the math for a formulation, you're going to be in that hell zone of just that red orange mess that you're never getting through without major surgery afterwards. So that's like such a simple thing. And I'm like, and even in every class that I do, I'll separate the hair and I'll say, make sure you lift up at the roots, let some light through because everybody looks like a 4 when you do this, So I'm like, lift it up, really look at it. And every single time everybody says 6. It's like everybody's a 6. I'm like, we should all be so lucky. I wish I was a 6. I'm not a 6. I'm crotch hair brown. I'm like a 4.5, 5 now because I'm old.
And then you see like someone that I would consider a natural level 7, and they're like, oh, they're like a 9 naturally.
They're a 9. And I'm like, what?
I'm like, who's
a 9?
I'm like, who isn't one naturally a level 9? Okay, first of all. 2. If we're lifting most hair to like a level 9, how are they naturally a level 9?
How are they coming out of the uterus as a level 9?
Are they pale yellow? I'm like, no freaking way. I'm sorry. I'm like, unless they're like,
An
8
albino. An albino is a
or
little
like,
line. That's it.
unless they're like a Swedish like model from like, that is like
And there's
perfect.
3 of them in the
Yeah.
world.
They're like perfect. I'm like, they're not a 9.
They're that like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sweden, yeah.
I'm like,
That's
they are
it.
not
And
a
Elsa.
9. Yeah.
My
I'm
daughter's
like,
dressing up like Elsa. I have to send you the this is what happens when you're a salon owner not getting unemployment. She dresses up like Elsa and gets on my computer and does customized like birthday wishes, like, hi, Janine, happy birthday from Elsa. And I was like, girl, you could do like homeschooling with Elsa, like do the ABCs, do like little lessons, make a little snowflake.
I mean, she can sing with
Yeah,
Elsa.
so she's singing. She's doing singing with Elsa. She's like, how did I get here? I'm like, it's called you own a salon. And this is what my life was like. You do what you got to do.
Yep.
So she's like, this is embarrassing. I'm like, no, it's not. You're getting scrappy and you're figuring it out. You're not going to go under. They said 40%.
This is like
40% of salons
territory.
are closing.
Yeah, it's
after
uncharted
this.
territory.
That's frightening
Yeah.
and awful. So
Yeah.
I know you're not going to be one of them, and neither are we, because we figure shit out.
Yeah.
So we're doing virtual consultations. Clients are loving that. It's like you got to get creative and you got to roll the punches and do what you have to do. Now, are you stocking up on color? Because I have heard the places that are opening that it's hard to get. We're spoiled with how quickly we can get our inventory. So are you all set for that? Having extra of your popular shades?
I mean, we definitely have backstock, but we will be placing.
You're gonna be busy.
Yeah, we'll be placing orders and stuff. But I mean, we won't really be able to. No salon's going to be able to open anywhere near capacity, so it's going to be pretty.
That's true. Yeah.
It's going to be pretty slow. Like, not that there won't be the demand, but we won't be able to get people in. I mean, it's going to be a nightmare for a while.
So have you figured out all that scheduling? Because it took Bryn forever. She had a whole spreadsheet of like
no, we haven't
phase
found
1,
out when
phase
we could
2,
open.
phase 3.
We haven't figured out when we could open yet. Apparently, the mayor today is announcing that. But if we
Did
can
you
only
see
open,
though, when they do it, they say, okay, tomorrow. Like they're not giving us any kind of warning. Like California yesterday, they were like, okay, you can open.
But it's also
and it's
like I won't be able to open it. Like I won't, if like they say you can open it, like, I think there was one rumor, like 5 people per 1,000 square feet. And like, I can't open in that way. Like we'll have to stay till like the second phase or something, because it's going to cost more to open than it is to stay closed because of paying front desk and like
at the half capacity. That makes sense.
It's not even half capacity. I mean, that's like, my salon in one location is 1,400 square feet, and we'll have like a lot of people in there, to be open. Like we have 10 stations, so 9 of those we really, would be using ideally. We always have like an extra open, but like 9 stations open. They're just my 9 employees for their stations to be able to use. We're already over capacity, and then to have one person in only at a time, it's gonna be hard to navigate for a while. But we shall.
Well,
see.
this has been fun. I know we didn't want to talk about that, so we're not going to get down that road too far, but we're all in it together. We all know, but I know I'm going to be getting mad feedback about this coffee chat, because they're sick of just listening to me ramble about what I have to say every week. So it's always fun to have a guest, and you are like impossible to pin down. Ian is a featured guest artist in my Hair Color Secrets Insider. He's one of my good friends, and he was I got to Vivian McKinder, Beth Minardi, and Michael Cole easier than Ian.
Oh, Vivian's
He's that
in there
busy.
too? Oh,
Vivian's in there too.
That's
so you're in
cool.
great company. But Jordan, who you trained and you should be very proud of, has been the most talked about featured guest artist in the membership. They love her energy and her creativity and how generous she is with sharing, and they all jumped onto her Instagram. So I know that every person that gets to your featured guest artist, you're after Jordan. So some of them haven't gotten to you yet, but I can already see in the comments, they want to know where to find more of Ian. So share how they can find you on Instagram and how they can follow
I'm not
you.
really active on Instagram, but my handle is Ian Matthew Color. On my salon and some of my some of my team, you can find they have, they've all been trained by me. They have, sometimes they put formulas down. But yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to share some of my, favorite stuff too with, some of my favorite go-to formulas too, which do include Clairol, which, is always
Clairol. I'll never forget Roy
like
Peters
5AA for me is, and 6AA and 4AA.
Right.
Like I use those straight on gray coverage. Like they're magic. Like no NN added, just 10 volume.
No.
Like 5AA 10 volume is like the most amazing on like high percentages of gray. It's amazing.
And notice he said 10 volume because he's not trying to get any lift. He's trying to get the deposit and no warmth. So definitely pay attention to that detail. Some of the comments are, this has been wonderful. Love you guys listening to Masters. Sandy says, I'm still at the 60, which, she's talking about the pricing. Sandy said, where in DC? Or no, Yvette said, what salon in DC? So it's Ian Matthew, or no, it's Ian McCabe Studios.
Studio,
right?
yeah. So we're in like right outside of Georgetown in the West End is our first location, and our second location is in Union Market.
How's that going? I haven't really talked to you since you started that second location against my wishes.
Yeah, it's going well.
You're insane. So, God bless.
It's insane, I'll tell you that. But yeah, so so some of my team will post things. We have, sometimes people come in and shadow and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy to do another one of these and just go over formulas if you want. Like, if you just want to talk some like.
I want to have you, and I'm saying it where your people are listening, so they're going to back me up when you bail on me and say, "Oh my God, girl, I totally forgot about you." I want to have you in my live coaching call for my members, and I want to do a deep dive into glossing, glazing, all things melting, all of that. So we're gonna nail down a date and get you. I usually do them Sunday nights at like 7.
Sundays. Yeah, it was like Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday are usually the easiest for me. So, but yeah, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, anytime. Like for me, I'm like super passionate about.
Don't say anytime.
No, I mean, like no, but
you're a pain in the ass.
No, but I've like slowed down a lot. So it's been actually this quarantine's actually been really good.
Yeah, where are you? I'm loving that stained glass thing. Where are you?
Just in my
living room. Is this your house?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's my church window.
Oh, you have to repent for all of your sins. That's what you
exactly.
have.
I'll be spending a lot of time there then. But yeah, I mean, I'm really passionate about, I think training people and helping them, learn, good habits. And I'm really passionate, honestly, about single processes and about glazing and, and obviously and highlighting and all that as well. But I really think I just always go back to singles because I think glossing, all of it goes back to that, understanding lift and deposit. And then, because that's all we can really do.
Well, that really is your zone of genius. Like you're not a cookie cutter foiler all day long foil. No. You're an expert painter, and you're very, what's the word? Humble. Like you're not bragging about what an amazing. I watch you paint, and it's like watching a Broadway show. And you're funny as hell. You're not being funny. You always get so serious in these things.
I know I get serious.
So people don't know how freaking funny. I said, Ian, we're like the Sonny and Cher of hair color, and we need to go on the road with our shtick because I get him going, and he's funnier when he's with me. When he's demonstrating, very serious.
It's when you get me going, and you bring out the crazy.
Yes,
the cuss words start coming in. The cussing starts happening. All that.
Exactly. So we're gonna do some Sonny and Cher things. We're gonna
for sure.
We're gonna pump it up because this virtual platform, if there's anything that's come out of this pandemic, it's that people are embracing. I've had more people join this launch than ever because they're understanding that this is a great way to jump on anytime and watch Ian talk about glazing, jump on and watch Jordan talk about this, jump on and watch Gino Stampora about, dealing with your clients and motivation. So it's at any time, any place. So I have something in the works that I'm going to be reaching out to you. And I think you're going to be a great asset to, like a big event, but all virtual. So stay tuned for that.
Cool.
So guys, stay tuned for more of Ian. Thank you for listening. And you will be seeing more of him when I can pin him down again. So thank you. This has been amazing. And I love you.
I love you.
Talk to you soon.
I'll see you. Bye.